So before we actually talk about adding an image or a link to a page, we want to talk about the different types of ways you can address the link or the image. There are two ways. The first one is what I've been kind of talking about up until now. I've been saying that you need to keep all of your files in the same folder so that they can see each other and work properly. That's actually because we have been using relative addressing until now. How relative addressing works is that when we added, say, the link to our style sheet, we just put the name of the style sheet default.css as our hypertext reference href. The computer then looked in the folder that that page was in for a page named that. It found it based on the location of where you started from, and it just used it from there. This is also why I've been saying don't use extra folders, because the moment you put that in a different folder, it can't find it anymore because it's not in the same folder. So unless you're adding extra pathing to account for the extra folder, you're going to break everything by using more folders. And since adding extra pathing is more work, I've just been suggesting not to do it. You'll generally use relative addressing when you're creating your own pages, like what we've been doing, or when you're drawing your own pictures. It's important when you're using relative addressing that name matches exactly, including capitalization, which is why it was always so important to use simple names for everything. The second type of addressing is called an absolute address. How that works is that you're essentially going to point out a position on the internet and say, get this resource from here. So if you were linking to an external article, for say, maybe you would just grab the address of the page and use that instead of copying the words. Or if you wanted to get a picture off of Google, maybe you would just go to the website, view the address of the image, and use that to save space. Because what often happens when people save pictures from Google is that the pictures are actually really large, and you use up your file size limit by using them. So by using absolute addresses for images, instead of saving the picture onto your own computer or into your own website, you just point to where it is online and say, get it from here, which is very helpful for saving space. So again, absolute addresses will be used when you can't save a different person's page or you want to save space. You need to be careful when you're using an absolute address not to mix up the process of a relative address, because what I see happen quite often is a student will be looking at, say, a local file that has pathing to their My Documents folder, all of that. They'll copy that and use that as their link address, and it will work offline because your computer can find your Documents folder. But the moment they upload it, Hyperion cannot find a My Documents folder, and all of their links break at once. So do please be careful to keep these two types of addressing separate.